when we talk about the financing and we talk about the angel investment, when you go to the next level, because sometimes the angels in that first step is we can get seed money from our friends and family, but what's the capitalization structure and pathways when you grow the business? Have you gone to the next step yet in financing,
Yes.
Lauren?
Yes, I have. I think the most difficult time to raise money is that next step, right after the seed. The seed, you have this very, lovely presentation and a great, the hockey stick curve going up, showing this business that you're about to embark on, and people get excited. But when you have your real numbers and maybe things are a little slower than you anticipated, or maybe you have product supply chain issues. There's just so many things that obviously play into it. It's very difficult. You have to have people that really truly believe in you, and as you said, Natalia, within your network, because they know you're a capable, dedicated person who's focused and can pull it off. But yes, we went back to our original investors and basically did a cash call and said we need X amount of money to continue to the next phase, and they did believe in us and provided us with that capital. But that is the most, in my opinion, difficult time. It was much easier for us to raise the initial seed money, and we were very fortunate to have this group that did believe in us. But I think if you're going to, the banks won't look at you, even private equity will not look at you. Many official funding groups won't look at you either, and so you do need that strong network of people that maybe high net worth individuals or true angels that can support you along the way until you get to that point that you can get looked at by the institutions.
So I'll be cheeky and challenge that. In terms of one other reason, I think you mentioned that there was a co-founder also. So several things. The first one is, and I had forgotten about this, so I'll just share it. There's so many women. How many of you entrepreneurs who raise your hands are you solopreneurs? Okay, solopreneur, and one of my favorite hashtags on Twitter is language matters, is my feminist reinterpretation of the word solopreneur. And so a lot of women entrepreneurs are solo acts. And one of the first things that prospective investors look at is the team. Do you actually have a team that is going to be in place to get you to that next level to scale? Do you have a team that shows that you know your strengths and you know your growth opportunities, as HR people like to say? Do you have your yin to your yang? And many times when you do have more than one person in a team, you have a bigger network, you have more access to potential funders. And what I've seen, especially when it comes to women of color entrepreneurs, when it comes to women social entrepreneurs, is that it's really hard to get that seed level funding because our networks don't have, either people with money, or either people who have the experience, or who know someone. You hear a lot of like the it has to be like the Stanford College dropout guy. Like his uncle is a VC, so he knows that, or his father, and I'm saying it on purpose, is an entrepreneur. So they have that sense, and that's really very much what we're doing, which is we're getting more women angels, and that's actually a ripple effect because they know women entrepreneurs and their friend and their friends and their community, and now their friends and community, they can say, hey, I know someone who's an angel, or I know someone whose mentor through this program is a venture capitalist. The other part to share is, particularly in the impact investing world, we see a lot of venture capital firms that are looking at investing in the 1 million plus. And we talk about microfinance, $50K under. And there's this thing called the lost middle, which I'll say like between 50 and 250 to 500K. And it's that critical injection that a lot of social entrepreneurs find hard to access. And it's like, well, if I had like that 250K, I could get to my proof of concept, and then there are all these like venture capital funds out there that are interested in me. And it's, of course, some ideas need to die, but other ideas, they just need that that key capital injection, and it's really creating that access and creating more flow of capital from the microfinance, to get to that in between, to then be able to get to the VC funds. And I guess the other thing that I'll leave you at, because I did mention language matters as being one of my favorite hashtags, when I heard about the title of today's talk about being the next generation, I challenged during the conference call even before getting here, and I said, let's really talk about next generation in a way that is intergenerational. And the reason that I'm bringing this up is because when I was building the network, it's called New York Women Social Entrepreneurs, NYS for short, a lot of the women who were coming back from they had left the labor force, they had gone on to raise their kids, and now they had this social enterprise idea in mind. And it was so powerful to see how they would come into this network and they would connect with young women social entrepreneurs who actually had maybe 3 to 5 years of experience running their own business. And they were talking with them and getting feedback from them. And it was really fabulous to see the co-mentoring happen. And so along those lines, leaping can happen in any age, and next generation can be whatever age as well.
I'll just jump in quickly on this. And speaking from my perspective as an angel investor and as an investor, there are some ideas out there that need funding, and they need, hearing Lauren talk about going out with, hey, I had proof of concept, and likely had spent your own, not only your own time, but your own money to have something that people could use. And this is also a physical product, which we know costs more. And this is where I get to be very contrarian and probably have angel investors and VCs and other funders that I have to go and play nice with get mad at me. But when you take money, you are giving up control, and you are giving up control of your company. So if you're going to take money, I don't care if it's the angel stage, early stage seed, Series A, whatever, decide that's what you need to do to grow your business. And is there another way that you can do it, that you can grow your business, like get a revenue model really quickly, that you don't have to give up control? And as I really said to a bunch of young entrepreneurs recently, VC funding is not a revenue strategy, right? This is getting another business partner. If you didn't have one before, as soon as you get that funding, you've got one, right? And at an early stage in investing, we are going to have a say in how you run your business. This is not an option. It's not negotiable. We are going to have a say. So if you are, this is the way I want to run my business, then go and figure out a way to fund yourself. And I'm thinking about this, and particularly on the early stage and the angel investing, we have to see that you've invested your own money. If you are shifting the risk of your idea by saying, oh, well, I can't afford to do this, I'm going to get somebody else to. Well, good luck. If you find someone silly enough to invest in your idea on that kind of a sort of thinking, kind of God bless you and God bless them, but no way. I need to see that you've invested your time and your own money, and that you have as much sweat and risk in the game as I do at an early stage. On the part of the team, it was one of those really, really annoying things when I started hanging around and in the tech and the angel investing space, and all these very experienced angel investors and VCs would say, oh, it's all about the team. And you're like, come on, what kind of answer is that? Give me something tangible. I hate to tell you, it's all about the team. And you get your gut instinct on people, and the big reason for team is it's minimizing my risk. And unless you are an experienced entrepreneur with a track record, I need to see team. And we all need to see team. If you're Katarina Fake, fantastic. Kaz Lazaro, who's co-founder of Buddy Media, Kaz said to Mike, what, I got an idea and I'm doing it on my own. She would have people financing her as much as she needed. She's got a track record. And until you have that successful track record, people need to see team. They need to see co-founders. It's not enough to say, well, I've hired this person, or I've got this great development team over here, or I've got this great company in China that will make me this. I want to see somebody else who's at the table with you and as much at risk.
It's interesting that, how many again were from corporates and thinking about going into entrepreneurship? So when I started my company, I did a completely different approach, and that was I guaranteed my client so that they would actually fund my business development, developing my product. So PwC, when I left PricewaterhouseCoopers, they said, I want to create public-private partnerships, and right now we do it inefficiently as PwC, but listen, I'm going to go off on my own if you guys pay me as a consultant. So a lot of people start out in the consulting, but in that journey, I said, pay me as a consultant, and then let me test out these ideas, and then while I was doing that, so they were giving me a retainer contract, and I could invest in developing the technology behind it. So many ways, a different way of doing it is you get the contracts and the sales, and then that money that they pay up front, like for instance, a lot of the multinationals are great guarantees. If they can guarantee that they will buy your product or services, you can take that order and bring it to the bank. How many people here have mortgages or have their name on a mortgage? All right. So you guys are all bankable. I mean, that means that if you're on a mortgage, you've got credit. And that's the one thing that women are so afraid of. And until I started buying real estate during the downturn, I was afraid, but once I did it, it became easier and easier. And that way, you don't have to give up control, because when you take money as an investor, you do give up control, but when you borrow it, that's credit that actually you can build up your access to more capital because you show a history.